With your latest news, I'm April Cummings. We begin with the latest COVID-19 test results. Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee reports 161 COVID-19 tests carried out since Monday. All are negative for COVID-19. There are over 1,100 people right now in isolation, whether in a government facility or in their homes as required by the Medical Officer of Health. The couple that breached quarantine protocols, landing international attention on the Cayman Islands, asked the court to reduce their sentence. Radio Cayman's Felicia Rankin-Solins has more.
Emotions ran high for American Skylar Mack and Caymanian Van Ramjeet after Justice John Bernard Goldring handed down the new sentence in court, reducing it from 4 to 2 months to be served in prison. The couple were convicted for breaching quarantine regulations that occurred at the 2020 Cayman Islands Watercraft Association Championships last month. Prosecution argued the 40 hours community service and fine had very little deterring effect, but the increase to 4 months imprisonment was done with the intent to send a message to those who consider similar breaches that it will not be tolerated. Ms. Mack removed her geofencing bracelet after asking for one with a looser fit. Her boyfriend, Mr. Ramjeet, picked her up to attend his jet ski race where hundreds were in attendance. Ben Tonner, QC, representing Ms. Mack and Mr. Ramjeet, spoke to the appeal judges, stating a mobile compliance officer visited her on November 29th to place a new band on her wrist. He checked the previous band after her complaints of it cutting her and agreed the band was too tight for the pre-med student. Tonner continued that the 4-month sentence given by Justice Roper Chappell was heavily influenced by public outrage. Prosecution denied this being a factor. For Radio Cayman News, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
Justice Goldring adjourned court, stating the judgment would be provided in due course. As we follow news of a new strain of COVID-19 in the UK, the government's program board says it is doing the same. The board oversees quarantine and other COVID-19 prevention efforts for incoming travelers through Travel Cayman. With a new UK to Cayman flight scheduled to arrive on January 5th, officials say they will put additional measures in place around that flight if needed to protect the community. Member of Parliament Ezard Miller issues a statement on the sentencing of the Speaker of Parliament in Magistrates Court Monday, describing the decision as disappointing. The Honourable Speaker McKeeva Bush pled guilty to assault and disorderly conduct charges after an incident at Coral Beach. The female manager there was injured in the incident. Mr. Bush received a suspended sentence on Monday. Mr. Miller also expressed disappointment in the Premier's comments that he doubted the country would be well served if he took action on the issue, saying it might lead to the collapse of government and trigger early elections. Mr. Miller disagreed with the Premier's prediction. He says there are 11 members on government bench and 7 members of the opposition, with 5 in the official opposition. He said even if the Speaker is removed and fellow West Bay Representative MP Captain Eugene Ebanks opted to cross the aisle to join him, he says it would still be 10 on the government bench. The MP says he himself would not vote to bring down the government. The statement appeals to the Premier and others in the unity government to, quote, please do the right thing for Caymanians and Cayman, and to publicly ask the Speaker to resign by December 24th, 2020. He says in the event the Speaker does not comply, he believes the Premier should exercise the option of convening a special meeting of Parliament to remove the Speaker and have him replaced with someone other than a currently serving Member of Parliament. In other local news, who are the people behind the new Astor Cayman MedCity project? The company is Astor MD Health and says it began as a clinic in Dubai in 1987 with an emphasis on, quote, accessibility, affordability, and quality. Today, the organization has more than 90,000 staff, 3,000 doctors, and 365 establishments across 8 countries in Asia.
For the last few years, we have explored to expand our footprint to other geographies to make quality healthcare affordable and accessible to more and more people. We were in search of an ideal location and a supportive government and associates to make this a reality. When we visited Cayman Island and met the Honorable Premier and other senior leaders, we were greatly impressed by the business-friendly environment.
Dr. Ezard Miller is the founder, chair, and managing director. He says there are many reasons for choosing the Cayman Islands for this new venture.
The easy accessibility to the highest levels of the government and the transparency along with quality-focused approach. The excellent people of the island, culture and environment of this beautiful country made us consider the Cayman Island as a potential location for our expansion plans. The more we have known about Cayman Islands and the people here, the more convinced we are about the region as the right choice for us.
Dr. Mupin says they hope to attract patients from other Caribbean countries, mainland U.S., and Canada. He also notes 1.4 million Americans travel for medical care each year. Now, construction on the first phase of MedCity is expected to get underway in 2021.
I would suspect by mid-next year we will break ground. Our goal would be to get started as quickly as possible. And then the first phase, I think, if I'm not mistaken, will provide about 700 or 800 jobs. And they will be primarily Caymanian construction companies.
That first phase is a 150-bed hospital. Project Director Gene Thompson, a well-known local developer and entrepreneur, says the timing will be good for the local economy.
My personal belief is some of the heat in our economy now is going to slow down. We're seeing a lot of construction going on, but that will eventually slow down. I think later next year, middle to later next year, you'll see that slow down, and this will help to take up some of that slack.
As to location, Mr. Thompson says that is still in the works. Pension withdrawals top more than $400 million. Radio Cayman's Carsley Fuller has the details.
Earlier this year, the National Pensions Amendment Law 2020 was amended during the COVID-19 lockdown crisis to allow people to make withdrawals from their pension account to alleviate the financial strain the pandemic had caused them. Based on statistics received from the Pension Plan Administration, the Department of Labor and Pensions has determined that thus far, 46,888 applications were received and more than 36,000 applications approved. 9,909 were rejected, and to date, more than 443 million CI dollars has been paid to plan members. The peak of applications were received in May, totaling just under 25,600. The ability for people to withdraw from their pension accounts came to an end on October 31st, and the final statistics for the withdrawals over the 6-month period should be available by early January. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Carsley Fuller.
The Department of Environmental Health wraps up its annual bulk waste campaign. Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego has more.
During the 2020 bulk waste campaign, the DEH reports all manner of old household goods, furniture, vegetation, derelict vehicles, scrap metal, wood, and construction DIY garbage were collected from the districts of Grand Cayman and the sister islands. The campaign was carried out by the DEH teams and supported by the NICE project. The DEH says there may remain small, isolated piles of materials left by individuals. The department is still in the process of identifying and clearing these up during normally scheduled rounds. The DEH is urging members of the public to refrain from disposing of waste in this way, as the collection campaign has wrapped up, and this can be considered littering. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
And that is your latest local news from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm April Cummings.